and welcome to this week's rant. And it's going to be short and sweet. And I know I say that a lot, but this week it is going to be short and sweet because I'm losing the light and I can't be what's-it to go and get the other lights out of the workshop, which is where they're all set up at the moment. So I've just got one light over here at the moment. And I've got natural daylight coming in from over here. But that's slowly going dark as the days start to draw in. And it's only coming towards the end of August. But before we get going on this week's rant, normal parish notices apply. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, can I ask why not? Hit the subscribe icon. If you want to be notified when stuff like this hits the channel, that's the bell icon. Consider becoming a TMTG member, community member. Patreon address is down the bottom there, as are the Instagram and Facebook feeds where other things are reported. But now, back to the video. So I've just finished wrapping a video on playing the RD8 from the keyboard. So the RD8 is just set up just here off camera. So hopefully, third time lucky, that one has recorded. Now all I've got to do is edit it down and post it to the channel. Which are always things easier said than done, because I think a lot of people who don't produce videos, who consume videos on YouTube, I suppose they don't really realise just how much effort is involved in the post-production side of it. Sitting and talking to camera is one thing, but actually doing all the other stuff is something different. But that's the life of a YouTuber. And talking about YouTube brings me nicely into the first subject for this week, which is YouTube platform changes. Now, I know YouTube will spin this, that they're constantly improving a YouTube creator's life by improving the platform. And quite a lot of what they do is actually really, really helpful to people like me when you're posting videos. So being able to edit online and various other bits and bobs. The downside to some of that, unfortunately, and I'm just looking at my script, is that some of the older videos, some of the videos that were sort of put up on the channel 3 or 4 years ago, or even 5 years ago, don't quite like the updates. So, guys, if you see videos arriving on the platform and you think, why am I reposting that? The reason is quite simple. YouTube have made a bunch of changes in order for those videos, and I'm not doing it for all the videos, I'm doing it for the ones that are more popular, that the various people in the tubing community are watching, and it's starting to cause a problem. So what I'm effectively doing is, where I've still got the old media, and in between A and B, of course, I've moved editors, I've moved laptops, I've moved storage devices, I've had 2 storage device crashes. So where I've still got the original media, I'm kind of reformatting the video and reposting it, and then eventually I'll take the old video down, so the new video will effectively replace it. So that's kind of what's going on, and why you're seeing some videos from 2, 3, 4 years ago all of a sudden popping up on the video as new video on the channel as new videos. It's quite simply, all I'm doing is I'm reformatting it, and those videos that I can't reformat, I will think about reshooting with the new setup, with the more modern cameras and the lights and the proper microphone, because some of those early videos are literally done with the mic on an iPhone. So, going back and doing it with something that sort of does it a bit better is probably a better idea. So, as I say, I put in my notes, unlike the BBC. So those guys who live abroad, don't live in the UK, the BBC had a policy, and ITV, which were the 2 sort of terrestrial TV channels in the 60s and 70s, before we saw the whole satellite explosion. And we didn't get, in the UK, we didn't get satellite until the early 80s. Probably actually more like the sort of the mid to late 80s, actually, because I remember going and buying the first satellite dish from my household. So, and my dad promptly said it was his. Um, but we didn't get sort of satellite TV and cable TV until quite a long way up. You guys in the US had cable a lot earlier than we did over here, and the choice of more channels. Really, in the UK, we had Channel 1, Channel 2, Channel 3, and then eventually Channel 4 came along, and then Channel 5 came along. So we ended up with 5 terrestrial TVs, and then digital TV and cable and satellite TV all came along as well, but there was quite a big gap. Anyway, I digress. The reason I'm talking about that is because the BBC and ITV didn't believe they needed to keep the content. So what they did was they erased the original tapes. So that was sort of kind of the reference. Anyway, that's by the by. Okay, this one is potentially a little bit sensitive. A number of commentators to specific videos have left email addresses on the channel. And I have to be honest and say, look, guys, I don't care whether you leave email addresses on the channel or not, but I prefer you didn't. And the reason why I prefer you didn't is because that email address is visible to anybody who looks at the channel. It's not hidden. I can't edit it out. So I have in the past not published people's comments because you've left an email address, or even worse, your telephone number. And therefore I haven't published a comment. The only thing I can do is delete your comment. And you might have a really valid point, and I can't publish that, and I can't share that with the rest of the community because you've put some personal information on the comment. So this is really a plea from me. Look, guys, I am going to sort of relax my view on that, and if you put your email address, I will publish the comment if it's relevant. But I would prefer if you didn't put your email addresses or your contact email into the comments. If you want to contact me and you want me to contact you back, there is a button somewhere on YouTube where you can find it will send an email to me. Do that. Don't publish your email or your telephone number. Or even worse, I've actually had somebody put their address in there as well. Don't put any of that into the comment section because other people can just see it. I am determined to record this video before I lose the light. Next one is all about the media replacement service. So guys, if you watch the channel, you know that I have been collecting images for discs for quite some time. I have images for the T-Series, images for the Ensoniq ESP series, images for the S330, the S50, the S550, the S750. They're all starting to sort of like come along, and the idea of this was it's not about making money. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's not about making money. It is about preserving the images. And that's what it's all about. Now, the media replacement service is about replacing the media because you can't get the media. That's what the media replacement service is, because nobody is selling this stuff anymore. So if you need it, then the media replacement service is all about replacing the media. I've had a number of requests to do two things. Number one, provide the images. And number two is dump all the images onto some websites and make it a free-for-all. That is not what this is about. This is about preservation. Many people will probably have a go at me about this and say, well, you know, if you put it on the internet, then it is preserved and it shares it around everyone. That's not what, and there are some very good reasons, which I'm not going to go into, about why I won't do that. Okay, it's all about selling is the wrong word. It's all about providing new media where you can't get the media. That's what the whole idea of this is about. It's not about making money. It's not about profiteering. It's about preserving the sounds for these legacy synths. And you know, I have up there, that's my library in those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. That's how many discs I have for the various instruments. It's all about preserving those sounds, and if people want those sounds, then they can approach me directly. But I'm not going to sell you the images. Forget that. It's not happening. And I'm not going to dump them onto the internet. And as I said, there are some very good reasons why I won't do that. My printer's just fired up behind me. There are some very good reasons why I won't do that. I'm not going to go into them on the channel, but there are some very good reasons why I won't do it. Okay, so please don't ask, because the answer is going to be no. This next one is a really interesting debate that seems to be going on, and it's actually, I put a video up at the beginning of this year about upgrading my Mac to Catalina, and when I did that video, I was really looking at were drivers available for the Roland equipment that I own, and could I move it across to Catalina? So Catalina is 10.15. The previous version, I can't remember I can never remember what the Apple code names are, but 10.14 and 10.13, and there was quite a sort of step change in the security between 10.12, 10.13, and then 10.13 and 10.14 were kind of the same, and 10.15 there's been another big jump in two areas. Number one is security, and number two is what it will support. So many of you guys have left comments on the channel regarding the whole issue that you are having, and most of them are Roland issues, but to be fair, there have been some comments left about other manufacturers, but the predominant amount of comments on the channel have been about Roland and Roland's stance with regard to Catalina and older instruments that Roland have released. So for those of you who've been living in the cave, the issue is as follows. Apple issued the 10.15 Catalina operating system, and if you purchased a Mac probably since Christmas 2019, we're now in 2020, your Mac would have come preloaded with Catalina. Okay, that's the operating system, and the likelihood is that was pre-installed. If you have an older machine, potentially you have an older version of Mac OS, but if you've purchased anything since Christmas, likelihood is going to be pre-installed with Catalina. And the other thing about that is, and I've had a couple of tubers who've contacted me and commented on this, if it's pre-installed to Catalina, you can't go backwards. So you can't go and install 10.14. You are stuck with Catalina. You can go forwards, but you can't go backwards. Okay. Now, in the previous version of the Apple operating system, drivers were compiled against 32-bit and 64-bit operating systems, and the previous versions of the operating system would support either a 32-bit or a 64-bit driver. With Catalina, they have removed the support for the 32-bit drivers. So only drivers that have been compiled against a 64-bit operating system will now work on Catalina. Now, the issue that has been reported by many of you is that you're now running a piece of equipment that has gone out of support with Roland, and it's gone out of support only in the last couple of years potentially, but you can no longer, and I've used Roland as an example here, other manufacturers are in the same boat here, but as I say, it's predominantly the comments have been around Roland. And Roland's stance is if they no longer support the equipment, they will no longer service the drivers for the equipment. And effectively that means if you've got Catalina and you've got a 32-bit driver, when you upgrade to Catalina, guess what? The piece of equipment will not talk to your computer using USB anymore. Okay, that's what the issue is. And I have to be honest and say, people are asking me what my advice is, and my advice is quite simply, raise support tickets with the manufacturers and show the manufacturers how big an issue this really is. You've invested in their equipment. They should take the time to update the drivers so that you can carry on using their equipment. I know there's probably some thought around in the world going, well, actually, you know what? It forces them to upgrade. That is not a great goodwill statement, is it? If you're forcing your users to dump perfectly serviceable equipment because it no longer works with their door through USB to update, rather than just bite the bullet, spend a few £1,000s, and it probably isn't a great deal of effort for these manufacturers to update the drivers to work with Catalina. That's an issue that is constantly being commented on the channel, and if you go and look at that particular video, the comments are starting to get really, really quite verbose about this issue. And before I lose the natural light, this is the last one. I was going to showcase a new synth this week, and I haven't really had time to do all the stuff that I would normally do when a new synth arrives in the stable. And those that follow me on Instagram and Facebook may have a clue what this new synth is. But I'm not gonna talk about the new synth. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to wait and see. But hopefully next week I will have had time to clean it and fettle with it, and then you can see it. In fact, some people who were watching some mailbags that are going live, it was sitting here. And I was using it as a bit of a desk on some of those mailbag items, but I'm not going to talk about it. In fact, if I'm honest, in the last couple of weeks, I've been offered two synths that I were on my if they come up, I should buy them list. Sounds daft, doesn't it? And the one that I've got sitting just off camera here is one I've kind of been after for a while, but I haven't seen very many good examples come up, as in clean, decals okay, haven't been sort of like run through the ringer. So I've kind of looked at a few and then I thought no. Anyway, this one was a trade-in at a shop. The guy sort of got in touch and said, was I interested? Was it something I was interested in? And I said yes, and it has arrived. It's been here. In actual fact, it's been here a few weeks. I just haven't had time to fettle with it, as I said. And then I've got another one where a tuber has got in touch with me and said, I've got one of these. I've just upgraded my setup. Are you interested? And the answer was, yes, I am. I'm not going to tell you what it is until it arrives. But I'm hoping that one will arrive before Christmas. And the reason why I'm saying I'm hoping it arrived before Christmas is because the guy who's got it has to take all his work off it and put it onto his new platform. And that may take him a few weeks, maybe a few months. So, when he's ready, it'll arrive. And then I'll showcase it. But, if you are selling legacy equipment and you don't want the earth for it, let's put it that way, get in touch. I might be interested. Then again, I might not be interested. It all depends on exactly what it is and whether I think it's worth adding to my collection. I've had a good sort out I actually have been to the storage unit recently, and I had a good sort out at the storage unit. I have made a lot of space up there for storing stuff. So, I've been quite ruthless actually and got rid of a lot of stuff. I've got rid of a lot of things I was keeping up there for, I might do this, and I just sort of taken the decision, it's not core, it's not what I want, or it's just rubbish. So a lot of stuff has gone. It's gone up on eBay. Some stuff just went straight down the dump because I was keeping it for some reason. I've decided it's not going to happen. So, there is space in the store, in the stable, but there's no space at the inn, otherwise the housemates might lynch me. So I have to be very careful on what I'm bringing in and out. They're very accommodating, I have to be honest, but there is a limit of the tolerance level, and if I brought too much stuff here, I think they would lynch me. Anyway, that's all there is for this week. I said it was probably going to be quite short. I'm looking at the counter and I think it's probably longer than I thought it was going to be. But guys, live long and prosper. The light's just about to go. Have a great Sunday, what's left of it, and I shall see you on the next one.